Let's talk about what to do with your LLC if you move states. It's something that recently came up. I saw a blog, an article about it. Thought it needed a little more in-depth coverage. Something we've talked about here on the channel, but I want to kind of give a new perspective to it based on what I'm seeing. And the author of the blog and article, fellow attorney, was basically saying that you should move your LLC to your new state. Using either a conversion, which is the more modern version of moving an LLC between states. You can literally, if the statutes line up, file in one state you're converting out, file in another state you're converting in, and it just moves the company for legal purposes from one state to the other. It is a great option, and it's one that you might want to use in connection with your lawyer. Get some legal advice, make sure you understand what you're doing. Another option is a merger. But another option that this author didn't really cover, which really works well for a lot of companies, is just don't move your company. Leave it in your other home state where you were before, your old state, and then do what they call a foreign qualification in your new state to qualify you to do business. Now, this doesn't generate a lot of legal fees. Does potentially add a little bit of potential annual cost, and that will depend on the states involved, because you'll still be an entity in your old state. You're probably going to have a filing or a fee for that each year, and you'll be an entity you'll be a foreign qualified entity, which will have generally a fee or cost associated with it in your new state. So now you have to file in two states, so it is going to add some administrative expense, but what it's going to avoid is a lot of legal costs and trouble on the front end. And that may be worth it. There may be no reason to move from one state to another, and it may just make sense economically to pay an annual fee, which will typically be much smaller than what the legal costs and expenses of moving would be, just to pay that every year to keep going. That also then opens the door to where you're still now qualified to do business in both states. Most people moving between states, depending on the nature of your business, you may still have contacts and needs or desires to do business in your old state. So you would have to move your company and then get a foreign qualification in the old state, which I will tell you can be a real headache. We had a client who had a lot of problems with this because, let's say you're ABC company and you move from one state A to state B. Now you're ABC company formed in state B, and now you want to go back to state A and open as foreign qualified. Maybe you're using the same name. You got to figure out how to close and transfer and reactivate those tax accounts. It can be really complicated. So you need to look at your situation. This is why it's always good to get some legal advice. Get somebody that's experienced with business entities, look at your situation, discuss everything that's happening with you and your company and your future plans, and you may be able to save some expenses in the long term. A little consultation now with a lawyer that is experienced in business law, licensed in the applicable state or states, that can look at the situation, give you some advice. You might benefit from that. So look at your situation. Don't just do cookie cutter things. Don't think just because you move from state A to state B that you need to move your entity. Maybe you don't. Really depends on your situation. Get some advice on what's going on and figure out what the best strategy forward is for you. Love to hear your comments. Make sure you comment below. Remember, comments you make here will be public. Other people will see them, so don't put anything confidential in there. Only things you want other people to see. If you need confidential information, of course, reach out to an attorney of your choosing and discuss it with them. Thanks for tuning in today, folks. I hope you subscribe to the channel. We'll be bringing you more tips again in the near future. Thanks for tuning in.